Sometimes you think you want to disappear, but all you really want is to be found. Most people think pain only changes you for the worse, and it does. But pain also gives you something that people who've never really suffered deeply usually never learn. Because after enough pain, you stop just feeling differently. You start seeing differently too. And once you notice it, you start seeing it everywhere. Stay with me, because by the end of this, the way you see people who've been through a lot will never be quite the same. And in today's video, we'll explore what too much pain actually reveals about a person. The microwave beeps 3 times, you hear it, but you don't move. You're standing in the kitchen staring at the counter while someone in the other room laughs at something on TV. The food is getting cold again. And for a few seconds, you realize something uncomfortable. You've been physically present all day, but mentally somewhere else entirely. Maybe that wasn't you, or maybe it was exactly you. And the strange part is, most of the time, nobody around you notices it happening, because pain doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it looks like answering, "I'm fine," a little too quickly. Like you're sitting at the family table. Plates are clattering, conversations are overlapping. Someone talks about work, someone else complains about traffic, everybody's sharing little pieces of their day. Then someone looks at you. "So, how was your day?" And suddenly your mind goes blank, because you never really felt present inside the day at all. You just existed through it. And nobody at the table realizes how long you've been disappearing like that. That's the thing about too much pain. After a while, it stops feeling loud. It doesn't become sadness, it becomes silence. And that silence is dangerous, because from the outside, it can look exactly like normal functioning. You still wake up, still reply to messages, still show up to places. But internally, it feels like your emotions are behind a wall you can't reach through. Laughter sounds distant, days blur together. Even your favorite songs start sounding empty. And sometimes you genuinely want to move forward, but something inside you doesn't know how to move yet. But here's what most people completely miss. Pain doesn't just change how you feel, it changes what you notice. And once you understand what that means, everything about these people starts making sense, because too much pain rewires you, and it does it in very specific ways. 1, your brain never fully switches off. Pain trains people to notice shifts that others ignore. A slower reply, a different tone in someone's voice, a small pause before someone answers, even a slight change in energy in the room. Things most people walk straight past start feeling loud to you, like noticing your friend reply with a single word instead of their usual long messages, and instantly knowing something is wrong before they've said anything, before they've even admitted it to themselves. Or being in a meeting, watching someone's expression shift for half a second, and already feeling the tension before anyone else in the room has registered it. That's not anxiety, that's a nervous system that learned to read the room, because at some point, reading the room was survival. Your nervous system learned to scan for threat because at some point in your life, the danger was real. So now your brain prepares exits before you've even walked through the door. Most people never see this happening. They just see someone too quiet, or too sensitive, or too distant. But inside, your brain never fully relaxes, even around people who care about you, especially around people you care about. And that's only the beginning. Pain made you more literate than most people around you. And this is the part nobody talks about. People who've experienced too much pain don't just become more guarded, they become more literate. They learn to read rooms, to read people, to read the silences between sentences. Like walking into a party and within 60 seconds already knowing which 2 people had an argument before you arrived. Not because anyone told you, because the energy in the room has a texture and you've learned to feel it. Because once your survival depended on understanding what someone was really feeling, that skill doesn't just disappear when the danger is gone. Pain didn't just rewire how they feel, it rewired what they see. And most people around them will never know. But here's something that doesn't get said enough. Pain doesn't always make people gentler. Sometimes it makes them harder to reach. The same rewiring that sharpens their perception can also build walls so high that even the right people can't get through. And that's where it gets complicated. 3, depending on people started feeling dangerous. Imagine someone walking into your life, genuinely trying to love you. They're patient, kind, safe. But what do you do instead? You feel alert, you become the coldest version of yourself. And it's not because they did something wrong. It's because your mind immediately starts asking questions. What if they leave once they see the worst parts of me? What if I get attached and they suddenly change? What if I trust them and end up having to rebuild myself all over again? You're tired of learning those lessons, so instead of risking it, you pull away first. You answer slower, hide parts of yourself, pretend not to care too much. That's how hyper-independence starts. Not because someone thinks they're strong, but because depending on people started feeling dangerous. So they learn to carry everything alone, before anyone gets the chance to let them down again. You become the person who says, "I got it," while quietly drowning underneath everything. Not happier, just safer. 4. They stopped asking who loves them and started asking who's leaving next. At some point, something quietly shifts inside people who've been hurt enough. They stop walking into a room wondering if people like them. They start scanning for the exit before the conversation even starts. Not consciously, just automatically. Like sitting across from someone at dinner, genuinely enjoying the conversation, and already rehearsing how you'll handle it when they eventually pull away. Not because anything is wrong, but because your body refuses to believe that nothing will be. Because their nervous system learned that closeness has a cost, and the closer you let someone get, the more it's going to hurt when they go. So every relationship becomes a quiet calculation. How present can I be without becoming someone they can actually lose? And that performance is exhausting in a way most people never see. Because from the outside, they look fine. They show up. They engage. They smile at the right moments. But internally, it feels like watching yourself perform normality from a distance. 5. Suffering became their education. Over time, all of that changes something about the way you see other people. You start reading rooms the second you walk into them. You notice when someone's tone shifts slightly. You can tell when someone says, "I'm fine," and means the opposite. You hear exhaustion hidden underneath humor. You spot sadness behind a laugh that goes on a second too long. Because pain taught you to recognize patterns in people that most others never learn to read. That's why some deeply hurt people become incredibly empathetic. Not because they're saintly, because suffering was their education. And once you've taken that course, you start seeing the exam in everyone else's eyes. You become the friend who checks on people quietly. The one who already knows, before anyone says a word. But even that empathy has a cost. Because the people who hold everyone else together are often the ones who never learn to ask someone to hold them. And strangely enough, people who've suffered deeply often develop a sharper sense for the small things. Rain against a window, a peaceful drive home at night, warm tea after an exhausting day, a conversation where you finally don't feel misunderstood. Moments most people rush past start feeling like something worth stopping for. Because pain taught you how precious quiet actually is. The people who read emotions the best are often the people who once needed that skill to survive. Eventually, pain becomes a language, a private one that most people around you were never taught how to speak. And the hardest part isn't surviving it. It's realizing most people around you will never fully understand what it cost you to still be here, to still try, to still be soft, to still show up. Too much pain can make someone exhausted, guarded, anxious, and closed off. But it can also make them unbelievably resilient. The kind where someone still wakes up despite carrying things nobody else fully sees. The kind where someone still tries to love despite everything that taught them not to. Maybe that's why some people become quieter after pain, because they realize most people were never taught how to hear it. So tell me something. What's one word this video left you with? Just one. Drop it in the comments.